you can define success anyway. You can do it monetarily. You can do it, the culture is our successful culture. You could do it. But one of the ways I define it is that in the 18 years we've been in business, we're at about 80 people now. 10 people have left the organization in 18 years. To me, that's success to me.
All right, welcome to the latest episode of the CPA Talk series. Today, I'm honored to welcome Randy Crabtree, CPA, co-founder and partner of Tri-Merit Specialty Tax Professionals, named among Accounting Today's top 100 most influential for multiple years. He is also the host of the Unique CPA podcast and the creator of the Bridging the Gap conference. Randy's journey from recovering from a personal health crisis to building a purpose-driven niche practice has made him a powerful advocate for people-centric firm culture, mental health, and sustainable growth. He brings deep insights on how a high-performing firm balances smart resourcing with thriving team culture, making him a perfect guest for our CPA Talk series. Welcome, Randy. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun here today with you.
Absolutely. Same here. We are going to make it candid. We will discuss the things that we usually talk in our day-to-day life. So no different.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Let me start it with your journey. I was reading your bio, and Randy, you have worn many hats. You're a CPA firm co-founder, you're a podcast host, conference creator, and advocate for mental health in the profession. So, looking back, what key moments or experiences have most influenced how you led, be it build relationships and serve the CPA community? How would you define that?
Yeah, I assume we have like 2 hours to discuss this right now. I'll go the short version because there's been
Sure.
many pivotal points in my career that have really shaped, my mindset today. And my mindset today is basically I want to create a profession where everybody has fun, where people enjoy what they're doing. And so that came out of really, let me highlight probably 3 pivotal moments. The first one was early in my career. And early in my career, I was working for a CPA firm, a small local CPA firm, and I felt like I was treated like an asset, not a person. I was treated as a billable hour. I wasn't treated as Randy. They didn't see me as that, and so that led to basically it led to a long story short. It led to me packing up my desk one day and walking out at lunch and never going back because I wasn't going to be put up with that kind of culture, where people don't matter. And so when we talk about people culture, that was a very pivotal moment in my career. I think I've always felt that as a person. I started my first business at 16 and I felt like people were always important to me. But that was, if we look at this long journey, I'm old, so it's a long journey now. That was the first pivotal moment. The second pivotal moment, I can't talk today apparently, pivotal moment, there we go, we got it, was what you mentioned in the beginning, a health crisis, which was I had a stroke 11 years ago. And that stroke taught me the power of vulnerability. When you have a stroke, you are vulnerable, and not by choice. You need other people's help. And when it happened to me, I was lucky. My brother was with me, and I looked at him and said, I need your help. I need your help now. You have to get me to the hospital. And so that started a journey for me that lasted about 5 years on embracing vulnerability. And it was a learning process. But that was a huge pivotal moment in my career, and analyzing everything that I was doing with the stroke. And post-stroke, I struggled mentally for about 5 years. So that ties into the story. I was always anything that happened to me was going to cause another stroke. My mind would tell me this. I was going to have another stroke and I was going to die. And so I struggled mentally for about 4.5, 5 years. But then when I stopped that, here's the next pivotal moment. And this is where I leaned into vulnerable leadership as intentionality, as actually realizing that there's important aspects to being vulnerable in the workplace. And I had to look at what I was doing within our organization and realized that I was not suited for the role as managing partner. That's the role I had taken on when I started this company. And so I basically had to go to the entire firm and say, hey, this is not who I am. I don't have the skills and the passion to be the leader of this organization. I have other skills and passions that are perfect for here. And so that started this whole journey of investigating how vulnerable leadership plays into an organization. And then the next step from that was just finding my passion. And so I really stress everybody out there should really look at what they love doing and what they're good at. And that's what I was able to do when I stepped down as managing partner. So those are, long story short, those are some of the pivotal moments that's really shaped the way I look at everything in our profession.
I completely advocate that, Randy. So if I'll give you a quick background, I started my education by studying mechanical engineering, which was definitely not an area of interest of mine. I was always into communicating with people, connecting with people, that kind of a personality. And when I got to my college admission in the engineering field, I failed. I failed miserably. I mean, I failed in all the subjects except communication skills. So that was a big lesson that you shouldn't be going where your heart doesn't follow you, where your mind doesn't allow you to go to. So point well taken, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just to add on to that real quick, I wouldn't say you failed, because what you did is you found your passion because
I
you
found
took a
my
path.
niche. Yeah.
Yeah, you took a path that was maybe supposed to be part of your journey, but that part of your journey was just to have you get to this intersection where you could take a hard left or a hard right and then find where you are now. So yeah, I look at that as every single thing that's happened in my life has led me to where I am today. And so if it was a misstep, I never look at that. Was it a path that I zigged the wrong way a little bit? Sure. But without doing that, I wouldn't have got here. So I never regret or look at anything. And so, yes, you started down the wrong path potentially, but you maybe not have gotten to here without that. Sorry, I had to add that in there because I think it's so important.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is how it goes. That point after point, you keep adding things. So I was reading a LinkedIn post yesterday. It was a Japanese quote. It says, if you are in a wrong train, the quicker you get out of that, the easier the return is going to be. So I spent just 1 year doing that engineering, and then I realized that this is not what I want to do, and I exited immediately after that. Anyways, this is your podcast, so I would want to focus more on you as an individual and as your company. So let's talk about TriMerit. TriMerit has scaled successfully by serving CPA firms with specialized tax credits and advisory services. So how have you approached outsourcing tasks or expanding capacity without compromising control, quality, or client trust?
Yeah, this is a super passionate topic for me because we at Trimeric come at this from both sides. We are an outsource partner for the accountants that we support. We support accountants by being able to bring specialty tax services to their clients. It's a very niche, like you said before, a niche practice. And so from that standpoint, that kind of shaped my mind on, hey, when we started being an outsource partner by, offering services to accounting firms, I realized that our standards have to be so high because we cannot do anything to affect that relationship they have with their clients. And so, because we're coming in on their behalf, we're an outsource, but coming in. And then the same thing when we use outsource partners, we know because we know how you treat somebody that you're being the outsourcee to is you have to have this utmost professionalism. But more than that, when we go in with CPA firms, we feel like we're an extension of their team, and not even extension, we're part of their team, even though we're independent. And it's the same thing. Yes, it's the same thing when we use outsourced partners. Like my assistant is she's from an outsourced firm that works out of Mexico, but she is our team. We do the same onboarding process. It's the same everything that as she does. And same thing, we have a part of our cost segregation team is in India, but they're a team. They're not, it's not them and us. It's we're all one team. And that's the way we look at it. And so I love the outsource. I don't like the term outsourcing because it seems like it independent, separate organization, which it technically is, but that's not how I look at it. They're part of our team. They're part of Trimera. This is our team members. We're all one group. And so I think if you look at it that way, it's not us and them, and it's all one. It just really makes it such a beautiful and easy process that has so many benefits.
True, true. That makes perfect sense, Randy. And we see the same dynamic when CPA firms outsource with us. The key isn't just handing off the task. It's creating a framework where the offshore team becomes an extension of the in-house team. Where when there is a transparency, there are clear processes and a feedback loop. uh, Firms can easily scale capacity without losing control and compromising on quality. And in fact, that's often when client trust grows because the service stays consistent even during busy season. It just keeps on going in the north.
Yep. Oh yeah. And when you said that feedback loop, and that the loop's a good way to look at it because it's both ways. I mean, like my assistant, I ask her, "What am I doing wrong? What can I do better to help you? What do you need from me?" And she does the same. And it's the same thing with our cost seg team. We are back and forth all the time. It's not just me directing somebody; it's them directing me as well.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so this is you. This is Trimerit, but many firms struggle with capacity constraints during peak tax season. What trends are you observing in how firms are using outsourcing, particularly offshore teams or specialized partners, to maintain the performance and flexibility both?
Yeah, so for me, it's that whole. This is not a stopgap. Hey, I have a problem. I'm going to bring in a team. They're going to help me get through this project, and then they're gone again. That's not the way to look at this. This is like we were just saying. It's a whole. This is just part of our team, and so part of that is looking at, like we said at the very beginning, looking at what you're good at and what you love doing, and a lot of times that outsource partner is going to fill in those deficiencies you have. It's not just, hey, we're all going to do the same thing. I love, let's just as an example, I love, doing tax return advisory work. I hate doing the input and the data collection, well, which everybody does probably, but so part of that is, why don't I use my passions and my skills, what I love doing, and concentrate on that? And why don't I find an outsource partner that can fill in these deficiencies where I'm either not good at, or I just don't have the time or the effort or the want to do it? And so that's that there. And that's not a just tax season thing. This is not a just audit season thing. This isn't all year. That team, in my mind, has to stay with you all the time because they get to learn. You get to feed off each other. The more I work with my assistant, the more we get comfortable with each other. And if it's just short term, that doesn't work. So looking at that, filling in the deficiencies so you can shine and do the things you love doing.
Yeah, and I think a self evaluation before choosing an outsourcing partner is also very important because if I give you some real life scenarios as an example, we do work with some CPA practices wherein they prefer keeping all the easy peasy tax returns with themselves and send the complex tax returns work to us because they believe that it's more time consuming and unnecessary. They are spending too much time on those complexities. When in someone with the outsourced fashion, because they are because we bill them on per tax return basis and not on per hour or per minute basis, is why they send complex work to us. On the flip side of that, we have some CPAs wherein they prefer that they keep the complex work with themselves because they think that it is very critical. And they send the easy peasy tax returns, simple vanilla type of tax returns to us because those are usually higher in volume, repetitive in nature. So I think it's also very important that we do a self evaluation of the team, of the in house staff member, and then decide which mode of operation makes more sense in the outsourced fashion.
Yeah, can I expand on that? Because I love what you just said
Sure.
there. And a tool that I use and we use internally is it's a very simple Excel spreadsheet that I actually got from a friend of mine. And list all the tasks each individual is doing within your organization and have people this where vulnerability kicks in because you have to be a vulnerable leader to get your people to want to do this. But you have 4 columns or 5 columns, the task, and you have to check, do I love it or do I hate it? One of those 2 boxes. And then you have to check, am I good at it or I'm bad at it? And if you have things in that, yeah. If I have things that I hate and I'm bad at, well, that's something that I need to find an outsource partner with, or internally give that to somebody who has the love it and the good at it checked in that area. But if the self evaluation, you're saying if you do that as an entire firm, that's going to identify the areas where you have the weaknesses, where you do need to find the outsource partner. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Complete sense. So, from your perspective, how can a firm create a structured outsourcing model that balances scalability, quality control, and employee retention internally? I mean, this is the one method that we just discussed. But what best practices have stood out in your experience?
Yeah, so clarity of roles is important, identifying everybody's roles. But I don't know, people might say I'm a softie, but I don't stick with just like we were just saying, the love it, the hate it, the good at, the bad at it. When you clarify roles and somebody, you have to be open to somebody saying, yeah, I love that that's my role, but I think I'd be better used over here because if people aren't open to feedback, if they don't feel comfortable that they can share with you as the leader of this organization, then you're going to get somebody stuck in a role that they don't want or don't feel comfortable with. So clarity of roles, but being open to hear what people's opinions are, setting realistic expectations. We too often as a profession, like, okay, well, we need this done yesterday. Well, okay, that obviously is not realistic. But even say in this big project, we want it done tomorrow. That's a great way to get people not comfortable with your organization because, okay, I got to work 15 hours today to get this done. And if that's a one-time deal, great. If that's an ongoing thing, that's expectations that just cannot be met, and you're going to burn people out and you're not going to retain people. And so setting the expectations and then the proper outcomes. This is what we want from this project. Because if we just say do this project, well, why am I doing it? Okay, this is why we're doing it, because this is what we're looking to do. This is what we're trying to help the client with. This is what we're trying to identify. That's important. And then just I guess, man, I can go on this forever, but normalizing onboarding too when we're doing this, and just everybody's treated the same. Everybody is simple things. Actually, we probably could talk about later, so I'll hold off on this one. But there's ways to just create a culture
Okay.
when we have this that includes everybody.
Okay. Okay. Fair point. On the retention side, employee retention side, Randy.
Yep.
Uh, when we talk about the benefits of outsourcing, we often miss out on talking about why and how it helps to retain your employees, and especially in today's time when we are already facing different challenges that includes the talent crunch that we have in the accounting industry. It's very important that we retain the experienced old staff, those who are working with you since some time, because they know your processes, they know your end clients, they know the tone that you use with your clients. And to retain them, you cannot just keep rewarding them or keep increasing their salary. They need to feel motivated. They need to avoid doing repetitive work. They need to take new challenges coming their way. And again, outsourcing helps in all these regards.
Yep. Oh, definitely. It is. And when you talk about retention and using outsource as a tool to avoid the burnout or whatever that can come into play
Mhm,
when we're dealing with stuff. Um,
mhm,
when I look at it, one of the reasons that Trimerit has been successful, and
mhm,
you can define success anyway. You can do it monetarily. You can do it. The culture is our successful culture. You could do it. But one of the ways I define it is that in the 18 years we've been in business, we're at about 80 people now.
mhm.
10 people have left the organization in 18 years.
Okay.
To me, that's like that's success to me. That is, people are enjoying what they're doing here. They're comfortable. They're feeling rewarded. They're feeling challenged too. If there's not a challenge, you're going to get complacent and not do anything. And so part of that is that whole program between outsource, in-house, everybody's together, but everybody supports each other so that we all are looking at the same target.
All right, let me shift the gear a little and let's talk about your favorite topic, that's about mental health and smart resourcing. So, you have already shared powerful experiences around mental health. You have discussed burnout recovery and building a people first culture. So, in your view, how does smart resourcing or strategic use of outsourced support contribute to lower stress, better engagement, and retention in high performing teams? I mean, it's an echo of the question that we just discussed previously, but more on the mental health POV. How do you look at that?
Yeah, it's a lot of what we said already, but to kind of wrap it up here is the whole, avoiding the as a profession, I'm going to go on a tangent here. As a profession, our mindset, pretty much everybody in the accounting profession's mindset is I have answers. I people need my help. I'm going to help them. And when we do that, we avoid looking at helping ourselves because I just got to work. I got to get this done. This business is not going to be successful if I don't do this for them, if I don't do that. And so we can get in this rut where we just work, work, work because all we're focused on is giving the answers to the clients that we're working with. And what we need to do is we need to realize that we can't do it all. And that's a big part of where having this team behind us, whether it's again in house, which is going to be, and outsource, is going to be so important. And so, from a stretching out what I can do, again, going back to concentrating on what I'm good at, that doing those things, I couldn't even tell you how many hours I work in a week. I have no clue, because nothing feels like work to me because I'm concentrating on what I love. Could I concentrate on what I love if I had that mindset that I have to do everything and help everybody? No, I'm going to burn myself out. And so that's where this comes into play, that we can all work together. I can delegate. Oh man, delegation. We can go on that forever, but I can delegate these tasks and still get this project done, still have the answers without it just having to be me. And that there is a huge, having that outsource team be able to offset my time, uh, is going to it has created this work life balance in me that is, honestly, I feel like everybody should. This sounds like I'm bragging, but I think I am. I think I live at the intersection of my passions and my skills, and I want everybody to get there because when you live there, nothing you ever do feels like work. And so, if you're doing it you're not going to have people dealing with burnout or mental health issues. And so, that's why this is so important to me.
Well, absolutely golden words on that topic, Randy. We are absolutely happy that you are here and you're sharing these experiences and insights with us. We are about to end this discussion, but before we say goodbye to our audience for this episode, any closing note, especially for for the leaders, for the everyday actions that they can take to make the big difference supporting the team's mental health and maintaining the capacity.
Yeah, at the beginning we mentioned vulnerable leadership, and I think too often as leaders, and I don't even define myself as leader. I don't know why I have a weird block on calling myself a leader, but
Oh, you are a
I'm
leader,
gonna
Randy.
I'm gonna try to say it right now. As a leader, if we've been taught you have to be strong, you can't show any weakness, you have to have all the answers, that's where everybody in the organization is then going to feel that same way. And if that's the way they feel, is anybody going to ever want to try something innovative? Because if I make a
Mhm.
mistake, I'm sure that's a sign of weakness. I was wrong. That we can't have, because your organization can't go anywhere without mistakes. Like we said earlier, you maybe made a mistake when you started at university and go into
Engineering, yeah,
engineering, but you can't get anywhere without these mistakes. Mistakes are what
true,
makes us successful. And so
true.
if we aren't a vulnerable leader, if we're
Mhm,
afraid to say I made a mistake,
mhm.
then we're not going to have any innovation or going on with our organization. Without innovation, we're not going to grow. We'll be a stagnant company. And so if there was one thing that I could tell any leader out there that I think would have the biggest impact on their organization, is don't be afraid to say I made a mistake. Don't be afraid to say I need help. Don't be afraid to say I don't have the answers. Because when we do that, then everybody realizes it's okay to ask for help or to be innovative or try something new. So
Wow.
that is the one key thing I think every leader has to have, is that vulnerable leadership.
That's a very powerful statement, Randy, and I'm sure we are going to use it in the snippets when we are going to promote this podcast, this episode. Absolutely fantastic! Great to have you on this podcast. Thank you so much for your time today, and I'm sure we'll be connecting again soon and having some more discussions like this.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, audience, this is all for today's episode. I'm sure you must have enjoyed listening to Randy's insights and his experiences and whatever we learned today with this podcast episode. Until next time, please take care of yourself. Ciao.